Groovy.
Welcome to Slack to the Past. Today's episode, Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island.
Look at this naive little bastard, totally unaware and unafraid of the true horrors of this world. Who could know that the one to show him would be that which he loved most, staring him right in his big brown eyes? Scooby-Doo. In my 21 years of life on this earth, I've seen my fair share of films. Eventually, one becomes numb to the horror genre. But the one film that will always stick with me as the first film to truly frighten me can be described only as
Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island.
The characters of Scooby-Doo have been around since 1969, originating in Hanna-Barbera's Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Throughout the years, there have been many series and reincarnations of Scooby and the gang. But the plot has been mostly reliant on the Monster of the Week formula. Scary guys terrorizing townsfolk, the mystery gang thinks they have a mystery on their hands, wacky antics ensue, and these teens capture the monster. Only to figure out it was a weird dude in a mask, usually with some kind of financial motive, and they all would have gotten away with it too.
If it hadn't been for those meddling kids.
This series was basically built with the intention of teaching young children deductive reasoning skills, while also having the hidden message that sometimes the real monsters are the greedy, money-hungry men of this world. But after decades of airing, using the same formula over and over can become stale. Producers tried many things to keep fresh on the series. From literally adding new to the title, to starting crossover series with other properties, to adding He Who Shall Not Be Named.
Daphne, we all promised each other that we would never speak of him. Not ever.
To the craziest incarnation. A series where half of the gang travel the globe with Vincent Price and an Eskimo kid to capture 13 ghosts. It's Shaggy's shirt! What's red? Also, one where the gang was just, they were kids. They were a bunch of kids. Around that time in the late 80s, Hanna-Barbera produced a series of TV movies for their mainstream characters, and from this, Scooby-Doo had released Ghoul School, Reluctant Werewolf, and the last being Arabian Nights, none of which really helping bring back the status of popularity Scooby-Doo had with his original series. Network-wise, Scooby was kind of everywhere, until eventually all runs died out, and the main rights were exclusive to Cartoon Network and its sister company, Boomerang.
Cartoon Network, the best place for cartoons.
Not for me! Not for me, man!
It was here at his new home, Scooby found an audience with kids of the era. 90s kids, if you will. Kids like this one. Warner Brothers Animation and Hanna-Barbera then collaborated on a deal to create one Scooby-Doo TV movie a year over the course of 4 years. On the front lines of this new era for everyone's favorite meddling kids was the reason why we're all here today. Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, baby! What was so great about this movie was instead of just telling us another mystery with the characters we know, it was more of an evolution of all of the characters. Taking place after the events of the original Scooby-Doo Where Are You series, Zombie Island poses the question, what happens when the gang gets bored of mysteries? Much like audiences were. After yet another mystery is solved and boredom kicks in, the gang decides to go their separate ways and do the scariest thing imaginable. Grow up.
You know, the real reason I changed jobs was because the monsters and ghosts always turned out to be bad guys in a mask.
Got a little boring, eh?
No kidding.
Velma now owns a bookstore, Scooby and Shaggy are bag checkers for an airport, which doesn't last long.
We didn't need it all. There's still a couple of Gorgonzolas left.
You're a couple of Gorgonzolas!
And Daphne runs her own Ghost Hunters-esque reality show with Fred as her cameraman. For Daphne's birthday, Fred surprises her by getting the gang back together for a nostalgic road trip of mystery solving. What's brilliant about this movie is it kind of has a tongue-in-cheek approach to the regular formula of the original series, really showing the monotony of solving mysteries over and over again. Eventually, the gang winds up in New Orleans and they meet an attractive lady of the bayou, claiming the island of which her and her employer reside is haunted by a pirate ghost. Mystery Inc. humors her, but knowing it'll just be another mystery. Fred even mentions this to her outright.
Well, no offense, chance, Lena, but it's probably just some guy in an old pirate suit trying to scare off the local kids.
This movie makes a few of these little in-jokes, but in a natural way, never really forcing them. But I think my favorite instance of showing that Scooby and the gang are in a much different environment is this scene right here.
No.
It's the fisherman.
God!
No! It's the
No!
ferryman.
God, please, no! No!
Maybe it's
No!
real.
No!
The big marketing ploy of the film was
This time, the monsters are real.
even though they've totally been real before. I guess maybe they were hoping everyone would forget what happened in the 80s.
I thought we weren't supposed to talk about Scrappy.
I'll be completely honest here. The real monsters, from zombies to the pirates to the, spoiler alert, cat people, everything here was actually kind of frightening. Fun fact, the whole Zombie Island cat monster thing was based on an unused plot for an episode of SWAT Cats by Glenn Leopold, who was also the mastermind behind the script of Zombie Island. There was an honestly really cool juxtaposition between the frightening images and the fun, corny chase sequences with awesomely 90s songs playing.
And it's terror time again. They've got you running through the night.
Seriously, add Terror Time to your next Halloween party playlist, because I can't, due to not being cool enough for Halloween parties. I think much of the horrifying images can be attributed to the fact that the animation was outsourced a wee bit. Much of the animation was done by Japanese artists, who are a little more lenient on what to show children than us weak-stomached Westerners. Now, the main credit for director went to Jim Stenstrom, who went on to direct plenty of other direct-to-video Scooby-Doo movies. But here at Slacker Productions, we're about giving credit where credit's due. Hiroshi Aoyama and Katsumi Fukushima were also directors on the project, and I assume added the darker and more anime-esque style to the movie, which is actually fitting for the character. I don't know if you knew this, but I found out recently that the creator of Scooby-Doo, Iwao Takamoto, was a Japanese-American man himself. Thanks for keeping cartoons cultural, Scooby. For a straight-to-video film, the animation is honestly amazing. The only thing off-putting about it is the fact that the gang now has whites of their eyes, which is just, it's strange. Now, with all of these changes to the style and tone of Scooby and the gang, it's no surprise that most of the cast has been switched out, but for various reasons. This was the first anything to not feature Don Messick as Scooby, due to his passing just a year prior. The film is dedicated to his memory, and Scott Inez stepped into the Great Dane-sized shoes and does a pretty damn good job.
Excuse me?
The only original cast member was Frank Welker, who has played Fred since the very first episode of Scooby-Doo Where Are You in 1969.
Come on, gang. Let's split up and look for more clues.
The only disappointment with the voice acting, and I guess the whole film in general, would be the voice of Shaggy. In every version of Scooby-Doo leading up to this, the late, great Casey Kasem has done the voice for this dubious dude. Kasem eventually became a hardcore vegetarian and stated he would not play the character of Shaggy unless he followed the same lifestyle. Then they went and did this.
Like I'm starving, Scoob. Like I'll have 400 Kids Club meals.
So in 95, Kasem dropped the character, and in 98, to play the beautiful beatnik, Billy West was hired. You may know him best as Fry from Futurama, and don't get me wrong, I love his work, but here it does kind of sound like Fry doing his best Shaggy impression.
Like maybe I should dress for dinner, eh, Scoob?
This kind of takes you out of it a bit, but don't worry, Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker, and the Joker plays a Crocodile Dundee ripoff, and it evens everything out.
Should've let the gators eat you. I can't stand tourists.
The film was released direct-to-video on September 22nd, 1998, and aired on Cartoon Network Halloween of that same year. Sales for the VHS were way above expectation, and the film was met with much critical praise. And just like a phoenix from the ashes, Scooby-Doo was right back on top, baby. Without Zombie Island, who knows where Mystery Inc. would be? Because of this movie, there has been a direct-to-video Scooby movie made every year since, ranging from Aliens to John Cena. Without Zombie Island, we wouldn't have the Hex Girls and Tim Curry going ham on the gang, which maybe something I get to next year. There have also been a fluctuation of pretty decent series, such as What's New Scooby-Doo and Mystery Incorporated. Even the live-action movie written by Guardians of the Galaxy director James Gunn borrows some plot elements from Zombie Island. So this year for Halloween, whether you're looking to traumatize your child or you're looking to indulge in some fun, spooky nostalgia, look no further than Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island.
I can still take you. Put 'em up, you mangy mutt. Oh, is that all you got?
What we do here is go back.
You hear the screeching of an